Stakeholder analysis is one of the most important tools that we have. And the first thing is to not think about the final product, the document itself, but to think of stakeholder analysis as a process. It's a set of things that happen. It's activities that lead to an understanding of who's affected by a project. Normally when we're designing projects, we're very focused on our client, as we should focus on the government, what the government wants, what its development priorities are, and how our project can meet those targets. But we also need to think about the wider picture. Who else is benefiting from the project? Not just people who might be negatively affected if there's safeguards, implications of some kind, but the people who are to benefit from the project. So a stakeholder analysis is the process of understanding who these different stakeholders are and what their role is in the project. So the first thing is to look at these different stakeholders. And normally we start this process by these three sectors that I mentioned earlier. We have the private sector, the public sector, and the civic sector. So within each of those three sectors, who are the people who have some kind of interest in the project? And it could be a positive interest or a negative interest. For example, if we're providing water for a city, then that might mean that there's some people who then lose their jobs. If there were people who were supplying water to the community through trucking the water in, then once the water flows through a piped water system, they'd be out of work. So this would be somebody who's negatively affected. They're still a stakeholder the same way the Ministry of Water would be a stakeholder in the project. So we divide up and we identify these groups. Now, the main thing to remember is that doing a stakeholder analysis is an exercise in getting a better understanding. And as the project officer, you probably don't know who all the stakeholders are yourself. So this is something that involves talking with stakeholders and getting ideas from them and understanding from them what their interest is in the project, because sometimes it's not what it seems at the surface.